Hello, everybody, and welcome. Happy Sunday evening. It is July 11th, and we are live. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Just testing the audio here, and I will be sharing my screen momentarily. And thanks for being here. Just need to make sure that the audio is working correctly, so let me know. I have not yet shared my screen, but I will be doing that in just a moment. All right, just going to grab a link right now. And then I'm going to post the link immediately inside the chat just to make sure that you have a chance. That link should work. I'm testing it right now. Perfect. It does work. It will take you to the calendar and scheduling page. Thank you for letting me know that the sound is good. I appreciate that very much. And just have a couple of things to add here to the presentation. As usual, for those of you that have been here before. So the team added a bunch of spots for calls, so we didn't run out of appointment times, which I thought we might do. We're doing good on that. Let me make sure that that's correct. I'm not exactly sure that that is an accurate statement. So let me just see here. I got to double check that. Let's see. Tomorrow. Oh, nope. Tomorrow there's only 2, and then on Tuesday they open back up. So yeah, most of them were taken for tomorrow. In fact, I'm going to share my screen with you in just a second here. Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to the presentation. My name is Rob, and I will be your host this evening here on Sunday. For those of you who have been to a presentation like this before, I just want to say welcome. I'm glad that you're here. And the countdown timers, we're not even going to use it because we are just about to start right now. It's 1 minute after 7 p.m. Central Time, and it is Sunday, June 11th. And I'm glad that you're here. We got a whole bunch of you here already, and we're going to have a packed house for the presentation tonight, and I'm excited that you're here. A lot of times on a Sunday night, what we want to do is we want to get ready for the trading day tomorrow. So we're going to do 2 things tonight, and I'm going to center all of my concentration and efforts on giving you a stock to watch tomorrow, and then also giving you a strategy that you can use to trade that stock. And I hope that gets you fired up and excited. So if you came here tonight looking for a number 1 stock for tomorrow, you're going to get it. If you came here tonight looking for a strategy to trade that stock, then you're going to get that also. And thank you for being here on time. All right, so while you are getting ready and while you are getting prepared, I'm going to share the first slide with you. And the big mover of the day on Friday was AHI. We're going to look at that in just a few moments. I want to build some trust with you so that we can work together in the future. So I'm going to back up here. I am going to use the timer. I'm going to draw it down to about 1 minute. And that way I can go grab a glass of water and have that ready and to go. So welcome here. We'll get started in about 50 seconds. Okay, we're back and we're ready to get started. Welcome to the presentation. My name is Rob and I will be your host this evening. We're going to meet for about 40 minutes and I'm here tonight to build some trust with you so that we can work together in the future. That's the purpose for me being here tonight. Now, if you're here on a Sunday evening, you're probably getting ready for the trading day on Monday, and you can fill up the chat with comments on the following question. What is it that you'd like to learn and do tonight? I'm going to cover a stock for tomorrow, maybe even 2 or 3 of them. I'm also going to cover a trading strategy that you can use. And the whole time that we're here together, I've got a link in the chat and off to the side for those of you that are here. And you can schedule a time for us to talk and see if we are a good fit for working together. I encourage you to click that link and take one of those spots. There's only 2 spots open for tomorrow. And if you ever thought about working together with me, then you need to click that link. And that's most of what I'm going to say about that. I'm not here tonight to sell anything to you. I'm not here to make any money off of you. I'm here to present some information. And then at the end, or at any time during the presentation, if you feel like now is the right time to start working together, then we can cover a bunch of stuff separately outside of this presentation. So welcome. I'm happy that you're here. The chat box is to the right of the video on a laptop or desktop computer, and it's below the video on a mobile phone. So that's how to chat with me if you'd like to while we're working together. The big mover of the day on Friday was AHI. Inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge, me and a super cool group of traders, the lifetime members of the challenge, we trade together. And on Friday, yeah, we definitely traded AHI. That was the big mover. For those of you that were here a little bit earlier today in the presentation, you got to hear me talk a little bit about this. So for those of you that were here already, this is going to be review. But it's so important that it's probably worth hearing 2, 3, or 4 times in a row, over and over and over again, so that you don't miss the trades that are here. I want to say this loudly and clearly. You should never miss a trade again. After tonight, there should be no excuse and no reason that you will ever miss a trade again. You should be able to find out exactly what stock is going to be the big stock that moves. You should be able to be prepared to trade it well in advance of the next move that it makes. And you should be able to confidently place your trade knowing exactly what to expect from those trades. That's my mission. That's my purpose here tonight. That's what I'm going to get you ready to do. Now, there's a few stocks that have been gearing up and getting ready for a move, but the most important one for us to focus on is the one that moved on Friday, AHI. So here we go. Carter says, thanks for giving us beginners free tips. I've learned a lot of perspective from your previous broadcasts, like the margin of safety. I forgot that we did an overview of that book. That's a $5,000. It's not a joke. That's a $5,000 trading book. And we did a summary of that book. There are no more copies of that book in print, and they're now just collected by very wealthy people who love the world of trading. And we summarized that book on a previous presentation. I'm so glad that you were here for that, Carter. That's great. Okay, here we go. AHI was the big mover on Friday. It automatically becomes the stock that we're going to look at tonight and get ready to trade tomorrow. I want you to know that a stock that moved yesterday immediately jumps to the top of the list for the next day, especially AHI. It was a crazy mover, and it halted like 6 or 7 times during the day, and it just kept breaking out and creating new highs. So I want you to mark that one down, AHI. It's easy to find. It's easy to know because it moved on Friday. But that's not the only one that I want you to pay attention to. I want you to be ready at some time over the course of the next few days. I want you to be ready to trade AHI. It also did everything that we would have asked it to do on a breakout trade. In fact, we could cover the strategy using AI as the stock to watch. That's going to be really interesting. As you know, AI is the hot sector in the stock market. This is the one that everybody's watching. And this is the stock that sort of represents one of the most mature companies with actual customers, and people are watching this one. I have a theory, I have a belief that this stock is going to go on another run. I don't have to worry about what day it is. I just want to be prepared to take the trades when it happens. I want you to always have AI up on your screen and ready to go. I want you to watch it when the market opens every single day. This stock, when it does move, tends to move down in the pre-market session and break out and move up during the rest of the day. The other one that I want you to watch is CXAI. It didn't go anywhere at all on Friday. It didn't move at all. That's not a bad thing. This will take a few days off, and then it will just be a rocket ship. This stock in one day overnight went to $69 a share and then dropped back. This is another stock that is really popular with artificial intelligence stock market traders. The thing about this stock that makes it so interesting is it's got a float of about 300,000 shares. That means there's only 300,000 shares available for trading. And you can imagine if this stock picks up and starts moving during the day and everybody is clamoring to get shares, this stock can move a ton. So here we go. Those are the 3 stocks I want you to watch. CXAI, AI, and AHI. They may not move tomorrow. All of them may just move down tomorrow, and they don't make a move until Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. One of these 3 stocks will make a move, and it will fit the pattern that we watch. And I want you to have those stocks ready. But I also want you to be prepared to trade whether or not these 3 stocks are the ones that move tomorrow. And that's why we're meeting here tonight. Sometimes you think that a Sunday night market preparation would be the night that you predict which stocks are going to move exactly tomorrow. Well, we don't know exactly which ones are going to move tomorrow, but I am going to give you the answer on how to find them and how to trade them. Michael says, would you put a limit buy order on the resistance level? Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And I'm going to get so much more in detail on that, Michael. That is a great question. Michael, I'm not only going to answer that question sort of generally by a yes, I'm going to show you exactly how to trade that. All right. Dennis asks about Apron. Do I believe that could go up also? I think it could. The problem with Apron, Dennis, is that the float is really high. There's so many shares out there and available. It doesn't have the same potential. Instead of looking at Apron, you could look at both Apron, but I would also look at Carvana. Carvana and Apron both have sort of replaced GameStop as a stock that a lot of those meme stock traders are watching. The problem with both of these companies is they're probably both going to go bankrupt, and sooner rather than later. And just like Bed Bath & Beyond or whatever, these stocks can be really exciting to watch for a few days, and then they kind of cool off and don't go anywhere for a long time. So everything that we're going to talk about tonight, Dennis, you can apply the lessons from tonight, and you've been here before, so you know the drill. You can apply everything that we talk about tonight to those stocks also. So now we have 5 stocks. We have AHI, we have AI, CXAI, Carvana, and Blue Apron. And we can talk about those again. I will review those symbols again and again and again during the time that we are together. Now, the problem with most traders, unfortunately, is that most traders, they look at a large number or even infinite number of stocks, and they try to guess which one is going to move. And then these traders are inevitably disappointed when they pick the wrong stock or they pick the right one at the wrong time. Or traders will pick a favorite stock like Tesla, Apple, or even Carvana or Bed Bath & Beyond or GameStop, and then they will just get fixated on that stock making another big move. And while they're concentrated, even fixated on that one stock, some other stock moves and they miss it because they're too concentrated on the one that doesn't move. Have you ever focused on the wrong stock of the day? Maybe you got an alert on one stock, but there was another one that moved. Or have you ever tried to choose between 2 stocks and picked exactly the wrong one, traded it, lost money while the other one moved? Or have you ever picked the right stock of the day, traded it, lost money, unfortunately, only to watch it move later on exactly in the direction that you thought it was going to go? Tonight, I know it sounds wild, but we're going to solve all of those problems. And every single day inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge, I implement everything that I'm about to show you. I trade this strategy with my own real money, and I trade this strategy with a group of traders inside the Tim Sykes Challenge, and we solve those problems. And I'm going to go through a checklist of things to do in order to make sure that you never have this problem that you see on the screen right now ever again, okay? So for those of you unfamiliar with the Tim Sykes Challenge, the Tim Sykes Challenge is a complete course and live trading program that helps you have more success in your trading. Tim Sykes is the famous trader who turned $12,000 into over $7 million to date. And he has then gone on to continue trading his own account, but also train other traders. And he's got 30 millionaire traders inside the challenge and hundreds of traders that have made $1,000 or more. We can talk more about that a little bit later. But for those of you, as I keep talking about the Tim Sykes Challenge, you'll know what I am referring to when I say the Tim Sykes Challenge. Now, why would I be here talking about the Tim Sykes Challenge? My name is Rob. It's a pleasure to meet you. We are here live on Sunday, June 11th. Why would I be here talking about it? Well, I've been trading for 22 years. I managed money as a commodities trading advisor, and I started trading almost 23 years ago now. And recently, about a month and a half ago, Tim Sykes and I joined forces. I came on board to help Tim Sykes double the number of millionaire traders in the challenge. He reached out to me. He was traveling in Brazil, and he called me up and he said, would you trade together every single day with the members of the Tim Sykes Challenge who are lifetime members? And I said, yeah, let's just join forces. Let's take my trading room, let's combine it and put it inside the challenge. We worked out a deal, and that's why I'm here tonight. So I spend a lot of time with Tim Sykes Challenge members inside a live trading room, and it's a lot of fun. And so I'm happy that you're here tonight. Now, if you're not yet a member, if you happen to stumble across this webinar and you're not yet a member of the challenge, and after what you hear tonight, you would like the chance to trade together with me, I've got a link inside the chat box if you are in the webinar. And if you're watching on YouTube, the link is robbybooker.com/challenge. So for those of you watching on YouTube, this is the link you're going to want to have a little bit later or right now if you want to book a call and you want to see about working together inside the Tim Sykes Challenge. If you want to get all the information, I don't even know what the pricing is on the challenge. I'm not in charge of any of that process. I do know that there's a discount running until midnight tonight, or anybody who books a call before midnight tonight. I do know that. Okay, so go to this link, robbybooker.com/challenge. This is particularly, I'm showing this on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube. All right, let's go back to what most traders do. Most traders, once again, they look at a large number of stocks. They try to guess which one's going to move, and most traders fail at picking that exact one. And even if they get that one right, many traders will lose, and then the stock will go exactly where they thought it was going to go. Well, let's not waste any more time on introductions and everything else. Let's get straight into it, and let's talk about how you can solve that problem. So I built a scan. I can use a scan inside of Stocks to Trade. I can use a scan on Webull, but I also built my own scan called the High Volume Movers. And this is located on a web page. And I share this web page with all of the members of the challenge when we trade together in the mornings. So every morning before the stock market opens, I open up a webinar just like this on Zoom, and I show my screen, I show what stocks we're watching, and we pick the number one stock of the day. And I record every single one of those sessions. In fact, we've now got hundreds of recordings of mornings that we've traded together. And I have, over the last 22 years, kind of perfected a method of finding the stock that is going to be the number one stock of the day. And what we'll do in the mornings is I will pull up those stocks that are set to move or have already started to move, and it will be about 4 stocks. And we look at those 4 stocks, we choose the one that's most likely to move, and then we set up our trades and get ready to trade that. So the first question you've got to answer is, how are you going to find the stocks that are going to move? That's the number one question. So the number one question is, how are you going to find the stocks that are going to move? You get a scan like this. Now, you can use the one that I've got ready to go here if you want to trade together with me in the morning. You can look at the Stocks to Trade top gainers. You can look at the Webull top gainers. All of those are suitable places to find stocks that are going to move. And what you want to look for is the stock with the most amount of volume that is breaking out and moving higher. Now, I get an alert every single time a stock starts to break out and move higher on a significant amount of volume, and I call those sweet poppers. So they're just stocks that are popping up, and I love to see those move. Those are the stocks that are going to have the greatest potential. Now, I don't want to have 100 different stocks to look at, and I don't want to look at Apple. I don't want to look at Tesla. I'm not interested in what the whole rest of the world is looking at, because even though Tesla and Apple, they might move and they might jump or whatever, they're not going to double in price. Those days are over for those stocks. So we need to look at high volume stocks, not penny stocks. I'm not looking at dangerous penny stocks. I'm looking at regularly traded NASDAQ stocks that trade under $10 a share, because those are the stocks that it can and probably will move the most. So Dennis said, should we look under 10 million volume? No, you want to look at more than 10 million shares of volume. Now, they might start off the day with just 1 million shares of volume, but by the end of the day, these stocks are going to have tens of millions of shares of volume. There's plenty of room for all of us to take these trades. There's no risk that you're going to get in and it's a pumped stock that somebody's going to just sell off to you. So that's what we're doing. The number one thing to look at, and I'm going to repeat this a couple of times, is you want to look at stocks that are already moving. We're not looking at stocks that are dead and sideways and trying to predict and hope that they're going to jump. What we're looking for are stocks that have already moved. Okay, that's number one on the list. Now, how do you trade them? So we got a great question here earlier from Michael. And Michael said, do you use a limit order or what do you do? Well, I'm going to walk you through exactly what we do. No secrets, no hidden stuff. I'm going to teach you the whole thing. Okay? So here we go. This is AHI on Friday. I'm going to separate the different sections of this chart into different categories to show you exactly what we did. So this is pre-market right here. This sand-colored shaded area is the pre-market session. This other area is after hours, and that's kind of a bluish color. And then the white background is the regular market session. So after hours trading starts at 4 p.m. Eastern time after the market closes. Electronic trading is still available at that time, and stocks will move a lot at that time. The pre-market session begins at 4 a.m. Eastern time before the regular stock market opens, and electronic trading is available at that time, and you can actually trade that market also. So these are two times of day that most traders do not look at the market. Kind of fascinating that there's a lot of movement at those times and most people aren't looking. These times are going to be critically important to us. AHI on Thursday of last week jumped up in the after hours session, popped up on our scans, and it jumped up and it really just zoomed. It doesn't matter why. There wasn't really any particular news. It doesn't matter why. It just did. It just moved. Now, there was no indication previous to that. There was no indication during the day that AHI was going to move, but it did. It jumped. It popped up on that scan that I showed you just a moment ago. That's how I knew that that stock was around. And then it dropped lower. And the next day on Friday morning, we knew that this would have a lot of potential. So we watched AHI in the early hours. In the pre-market session, before I was even awake, AHI jumped up and created a pre-market high, the highest point that the stock was able to go of 85 cents. Now, I didn't need to get an alert from anybody. I didn't need anyone else's help to notice this. All I needed was access to a stock market scan, whether in stocks to trade as the top gainers or Webull under top gainers pre-market. Market Chameleon has a pre-market scan that shows you the stocks that are moving the most. I built a scan. If you trade together with me, my scan narrows it down to just 2 or 3 stocks. But there's lots of places to find the stock that's going to move the most. It's not rocket science. I'm not talking about doing anything overly complicated. I want to make sure that's abundantly clear. Some people who want to sell you stuff are going to try to convince you that stock trading is incredibly complicated and it requires you to have an intimate knowledge of the quadratic equation. That's not true. That's not true at all. In fact, the more you know, the dumber you get. As far as trading is concerned, if you fill your mind up with too much stuff, it actually becomes almost impossible to trade successfully. So I want to make sure we're on the same page here. I'm not asking you to do anything significant. I'm not asking you to do anything overly complicated. I hope that's refreshing. And I call my trading strategy refreshingly simple for a reason. I'm not asking you to do anything wild. There's publicly, freely available websites. Market Chameleon. If you have a Webull account that's just funded with a small amount of money, you can see top gainers. If you have a stocks to trade subscription, you can look at top gainers and stocks to trade. So there's a lot of places to find the number one stock that's moving the most. Now, traders can struggle knowing which one of those stocks that move the most is the one that they're going to trade. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you exactly how I choose which one that I trade. So I'm looking in the morning for the number one farthest moving stock that gained the most in the pre-market session. Frank says, what percentage increase am I looking for? Well, you know what? That's the great thing, Frank, is it's going to be different every day. I don't even have to know that. I just look for the number one. Frank, let me know if that answers your question. So it could be 10%, it could be 20% in the pre-market session, but it's just going to be the number one stock in the pre-market session. So it could be 20% one day, 30% the next. My scan that I built in Trade Ideas looks for a 7% gain within any 5-minute period. If I'm just going to look on Market Chameleon or another freely available scanning tool, I'm going to look for the number one scan. Now, TradingView also has some scans, and Dennis, you might be able to build the scan that we're talking about here in TradingView, but I don't know how to do that. I use TradingView every single day. I actually don't know how to build a pre-market scan in TradingView, and I don't need one. I've already got all the ones that I need, but you might look into that, Dennis. Okay, Frank, let me know if I answered that question. And someone said, grateful for your time and lessons. Yeah, okay, I really thank you. That feedback is really gratifying, and that I'm here for you. Like I said, for those of you getting here now, there's a whole bunch of you here now. What we're doing is we're looking at how to find the stock that we're going to trade in the morning, and then the process that we use to actually trade it. So I'm going to back up for a moment and welcome everybody here that just arrived, and I'm going to share with you just a couple of things really quickly. AHI was the big mover of the day on Friday. Tomorrow, I think AHI could be a big mover again. The stock AI could be the big mover. CXAI could be the big mover. Carvana could be the big mover. And Blue Apron might even be the big mover. None of those may be the one that moves tomorrow. But I'm going to teach you a strategy next that will get you ready to trade those if they are. Now, what we've covered at the beginning of this presentation is how to identify what is the number one stock of the day. You're going to watch for a lot of volume and the biggest mover of the day. The top gainers scan pre-market. Now, why would I be doing any of this? Well, I want to build some trust with you so we can work together in the future. And this is one of my last Tim Sykes Challenge preview information webinars. And I do these because I've joined forces with Tim Sykes, and I'm doing these preview informational sessions to get you an idea of what we do inside the Tim Sykes Challenge, how we work together, and encourage you to click the link in the chat and schedule a time for us to talk for free and plan your trading future and do a strategy session. And if we feel like we're a good fit for working with each other, we're going to invite you to come on board and be a part of the Tim Sykes Challenge team. And once you join the Tim Sykes Challenge, you'll be trading together with me. So that's the roundabout way of saying I'm here to do an informational session. This is one of the last ones that I'll be doing. I spend most of my time just working together with the traders who are already inside the challenge. All right. With that said, as a reminder, the Tim Sykes Challenge is Tim Sykes's ultra successful complete course and live trading program that helps you have more success in your trading. The only way to join the Tim Sykes Challenge is to come to an information session like this and decide that it's right for you. And then you click the link in the chat box or the button in the chat and schedule a time for us to speak. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can go to robbiebooker.com/challenge. All right. Deep breath. So we've covered how to find the stock that's going to move. And I hope that you caught all of that. And if you didn't, maybe we'll review it a little bit later on, or maybe you could come back to another session later. I don't know if this one's being recorded. Okay, next. Successful traders, even millionaire traders, will do the following. They look at a small number of stocks that already moved or proved that they are strong, and then they trade the second move up. You see, when I described to you the process for finding the number one stock of the day, the only way for a stock to become the number one stock of the day is by moving. And that by definition means we are going to miss the first move. The first move is what's going to alert us that the stock is worth looking at. Then we're going to trade the second, third, fourth, fifth moves of that stock. So David Mitchell wants to work together. David, click the link in the chat box, set up a time for us to talk. All of those spots are going to be filled. Tomorrow, I think there are 2 spots available for a call. Let's see. Nope, Monday, they're all taken. So 2 of you already took the Monday spots. There are a bunch of added spots on Tuesday if you want to set up a time to talk. So the 2 that were available on Monday, they're gone. All right, so what do? We look at a small number of stocks that already moved, and then we trade the second move up. Let's do that. Let's actually look at how that works. All right, you want to know how to do that? You want to learn a strategy? Well, you're in the right place. So sometimes when I get to this section of the presentation, when I used to get to this section of the presentation and teach the system, people would say, that's great. The system makes perfect sense. But if I don't know the right stock to trade, I'm not going to be able to make any money. So that's why we covered first how to find the stock to trade. Alan says, watch for NMTC and CTXR to start moving. Okay. Well, they're going to have to do what I describe here, Alan, or I'm not going to trade them. If they don't do what I'm going to describe here, I'm not going to trade them. Alan, this is great. I'm glad that you're here. There's no way in the world, Alan, that anyone can know that those stocks are definitely going to move up. They can only have a feeling that they're going to move up and some research to back it up. But a stock is going to have to do the following in order for me to trade it. And here we go. This is my strategy that I trade together with the lifetime members of the Tim Sykes Challenge. A stock like AHI will jump up, and because it jumps up in the pre-market session, it will appear on my scan as one of or the top gainer of the morning. It automatically goes to the top of my list. What I'll then do is draw a line across the highest high that price was able to get to in the pre-market session. And then what I do is I trade a breakout from beyond that level. I'm looking for the highest volume, biggest moving stock of the pre-market session, and then I'm trading a breakout. The reason I trade the breakout is so that I don't get caught buying a stock that's just going to dip further and further and further and further. If you have ever bought a stock on an alert, somebody told you, oh, I just traded this. This is an alert. I officially released this alert. Buy this stock at this price with this stop loss, and then it attracts a lot of attention. If you've ever traded one of those and then it immediately starts to move against you and you lose money instead of making money, you got caught buying something that didn't prove it was truly ready to break out. So we're going to buy a stock on a breakout beyond the highest high that it was able to go in the pre-market session. That's where we're going to buy it. Now I'm going to cover stop losses and profit targets next, but I want to make sure that we understand each other on the subject of entries. So my stop loss in these instances is going to go well below the volume weighted average price. The volume weighted average price is this blue line right here. In this case, when we traded AHI together, the stop loss needed to go all the way underneath the candles that started the breakout in the first place. Now, where's our profit target going to go? Our very first profit target is going to be the highest high that the stock went in the after hours session the day before. And then we're going to move our stop loss to break even so that we stand to lose nothing if it pulls back. And then we're going to ride that thing for as long as we can. What I'm going to show you is exactly how I plan profit targets on a stock like this. I'll draw a line, a retracement level, from the highest high that it went in the breakout to the lowest low that it went afterwards, and then we can set levels at which we'll take profit. There's a variety of places that we draw those levels, and there's a whole bunch of training that I've done inside the Tim Sykes Challenge on this topic in particular. So on Friday when we traded this, we had targets at 89 cents, 98 cents, $1.05, $1.15, $1.18, $1.34, and so forth. Now, what if you missed the first move? What if you missed it? One of the things that gets really frustrating is if we miss the first move, we don't know how to get in later. Well, we simply draw a line and we move it to the highest high that the stock was able to go, where it then pulled back lower. We draw a line across that level, and we can buy the stock on a breakout from beyond that level. And we just keep targeting these retracement levels that are my profit targets. And as you can see here, it got to the final, there are no profit targets after that. It got to the final one, and that was done. That trade was done. But then later on in the day, it broke out even one more time and kept going even higher after that to newer, higher profit target levels. And it eventually got all the way up to this one in the after hours session. So that's the trading strategy in a nutshell. I'm going to review why we do it this way. And then I'm going to repeat the process that I just did once again on another stock. So for those of you that like a little bit skeptical, that's cool. You can come, like I totally understand that. I'm not here to sell you anything, so that's fine to be skeptical and ask lots of questions. So please do ask me lots of questions. This is I don't make my living from trying to make money off of you. I make my living trading, and I do supplement that income with, every once in a while I'll teach a class or something like that. But, I'm not here to sell anything to you. It's not going to change my lifestyle one way or the other if you decide to become a member of the challenge. I want you to know that my intentions here should be very clear. I'm here to teach you something that most people probably won't teach you. And I'm here to teach you something that truly does work for a group of us that are on the inside of the challenge. And the only way I'm ever going to build enough trust with you to come on board and be a part of the challenge is by showing you what we do. I can't make the whole thing a secret. So the true value of the challenge is getting to meet these people and getting the community around you and chatting with us every day and working together as a team. So let's review everything that we did. Millionaire traders will do the following. They look at a small number of stocks that have already moved and proved that they are strong, and then they trade that second move up. All right. So let's review what we just did, and let's look at AI. So Lawrence says, I found AHI all on my own on Friday morning, bought 110 shares at 61 cents a share. I mistakenly put a stop loss at 4% to sell, and it clocked me out at 64 cents a share. Okay, that's great. You did a great job. Lawrence, a lot of stocks will only move a little bit and then tank. So Lawrence, you're going to get better and better and better and refine things as we go. Sushmita says, wow, that totally makes sense. Thank you. You're welcome. So Alan, we're going to look at this again, and I'm going to show you how to get in after a breakout. And I hope that this next explanation, we're going to repeat the whole thing that I just said. We're just going to do it on a different stock. So this is also on Friday. I don't like to use old examples, although I have hundreds of examples. I don't like to use old examples. And the reason I don't like to use old examples is because old examples don't help you. You got to know what's moving currently. Now, you can use a trailing stop loss, and we're going to take a look at that on this one in particular. AI is a stock that I look at every single day. Every single day I'm going to look at AI. It's always going to be on my list. Every morning on AI, I will draw a level across the highest high that the stock moved in the pre-market session. Every single day, I'm going to draw a level across the highest high that the stock moved in the pre-market session. And that level on Friday was $37.43. That's more expensive than we usually like to look at. I think AI has the potential to burst to life again and move to $100 a share at some point. So I'm going to look at it every day because AI, artificial intelligence, this sector is extraordinarily popular. So I'm going to do our system on AI, and it should be starting to click. You can take any stock that you get very interested in, and you can draw a level across the pre-market high. And you can wait for that breakout. So it does break out indeed on Friday morning when the stock market opens. It breaks out. It breaks out at $37.46, and that becomes a buy trade. We get our levels in place for our profit target, and it goes to level 1, level 2, and level 3. Dennis, Alan, and everyone who's paying attention, that third profit target, and Lawrence in particular, Lawrence, the reason you didn't make more money on AHI is you need to put a target at either profit target 1, 2, or 3. That's going to give you a little bit more juice. That's where I'm going to tell everybody to get out. Now, once that level gets hit, we get out and we wait for it to drop back lower again. And it did it. It dropped back lower, and it created a brand new high of the day. I didn't trade the next breakout because the next breakout only had a very small amount of profit potential, $39.03 to $39.31. So I didn't really worry about it at that point. I drew another level across the tops after that, and then the stock just dropped off from there, and it never came back. So it never recovered after that. Now you could take any stock that you want. Let's look at one of our favorite. Okay, so Daniel says AHI, all accounts today, gain loss 6,000. Okay, that's awesome. Nicely done, Daniel. Just published his results there. So our friend said, let's look at NMTC. Let's see what that did on Friday. Nothing. So this doesn't have enough volume to really move yet. Let's look at CTXR. Also not enough volume. So these are two stocks that may eventually move higher, but they just haven't produced enough movement yet. Let's see if NMTC ever did move like a whole bunch where we could use this methodology. No, not really. I did draw a pre-market high across it at $2.29 on one day, but it never broke out beyond that level. So NMTC is going to have to show more volume in order to produce a trade. So it's not that it won't ever work. It's just that it didn't produce enough volume to give us a trade. Yeah, so that they can, and eventually they will. Eventually, NMTC will jump up and fall back in the pre-market session and create an extraordinary opportunity. Let's look at a few other stocks that WLDS, that's been one that people have looked at in our group. So WLDS has been the number one stock of the day. Look at this. Here's a great example. WLDS made a pre-market high at $2.57. Now, I know traders who bought this stock as it dipped lower, and they got rocked on Friday because they bought a stock that was just going to drop, and they bought it on a dip. They said, "Oh, I'm doing something really smart. I'm buying a stock on a dip." No, that's not smart. No. It needs to prove that it can break above that pre-market high and get to these profit targets. We had all the profit targets in place. We had everything ready to go, but it just simply didn't prove that it could move. Now, on other days and at other times, it has been able to prove that. I mean, here, the nice thing about coming to one of these sessions is what we can do here is we can actually look at any stock that we want to look at, and we can test and see if the methodology works. WDL, see, it wouldn't have, this isn't enough activity to get on a scanning for me. That's not enough activity. That's not enough volume. But let's just do it anyway. Let's actually look at this anyway. WLDS on this day in particular, this was the 7th of June, jumped up in the pre-market session and made a pre-market high at $2.02. It then, when the market opened, it broke above that level. If you bought it at $2.02, you have a stop loss down here below. You're going to lose 11 pennies on that trade. You're going to lose on that trade. That's going to be a stop loss. Anybody that tells you they don't have any losses is a liar, and you just back out of the room with your hand on your wallet and your hands over your purse because that person's trying to get your money. We drew a new level across the top of that if we were trading this together, and then we trade the breakout from beyond that level. We get our profit targets in place. I haven't looked at this one. I don't know what happens here. Let's see. And it goes to profit target 1, profit target 2, and profit target 3. That's as far as I need it to go. I don't need it to go any further than that. So it goes from $2.04 to $2.08, $2.14, and $2.20. So that turns into a 16-cent win. Not enough profit potential for me to get truly super interested. By the way, it does eventually go straight up to one of the next profit targets pretty easily. And if you want to, you can draw a brand new line across the new high of the day, and you can trade the breakout of that all the way up to the next one. So WLDS, it's had some really great days and breakouts from beyond the pre-market high. Let's look at some other stocks that we've traded together. I log every single trade, every single stock that we look at. BMR, WLDS, BMR, AI, XYS. I'm looking at so BMR, that was a stock that moved up. Looking at ones we actually traded so that I can give you, actual information that's useful. And I'm going to try to give you information from a day where a stock really actually moved and created a trade for us. Here we go. Here, this is it. This is a great example. We actually traded this. That's why this chart is marked up. So in the morning session, what we did was we marked the pre-market high. I do this every day, and I do it in the same way, and it never changes. So I hope that's comforting. So it made a pre-market high here at $6.83. When the market opened, it jumped above $6.83, and then it got up to 801. So it jumped up to the first and almost second profit targets. So someone said about trailing stops and moving to break even. Every single time it hits a profit target, one of these levels, we move our stop loss to the next level that it was just at. So this one was either a break-even trade or a win on BMR. BAOS was another one that we traded together. BAOS. Let me just draw some stuff here and show you what this did. So you can actually trade these in the pre-market session in the same way. So you can draw a line across the pre-market high. And during the pre-market session, if you want to trade this, you could trade the breakout during the pre-market session. You just have to get your profit target levels in place. And it goes to 1, profit target 1. We move our stop loss up to the place where we entered. It goes to profit target number 2. We move our stop loss up to that level. Then it moves to profit target number 3, and we move our stop up to the next level, and it stops out. So that's kind of a trailing stop. All right, so how do I draw those lines? Well, unfortunately, we're kind of getting close to being out of time. People ask me all the time, oh, well, now you're just hiding stuff. No, I just have a family. Like me and my fiance, we're going to make dinner and stuff. Like I'm not leaving the webinar to try to hide something from you. I'm leaving the webinar because it's time to pay attention to my family and spend time doing the things that I love. Inside of the course, the Tim Sykes student portal, inside of the challenge, is the Rob Booker 9:22 a.m. club. You have a welcome, and then there's a masterclass. The masterclass is a set of 8 videos, and one of those videos, number 4, is how I use fib levels for profit targets. All right, Scott says, ugh, I was in the wrong webinar. What do you mean, Nuff said, Scott? What do you mean you said you were in the wrong webinar? Which one did you think that you were in, Scott? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to tell you. So if you've enjoyed what we've done together, guess what? I'm going to trade together with you and any other members of the Tim Sykes Challenge every single day this week, and the next week, and the next week, and the next week. And if you're not a member of the Tim Sykes Challenge, the next step in the process is to click the link in the chat and book a time for us to speak. And if you book a time for us to speak, we can talk about what the challenge is, we can talk about your goals, and we can talk about exactly what it is that you want to be able to achieve this year. And then we can see if we're a good fit for working together or not. Either way, totally fine. So let me know in the chat if you've taken advantage of that and click the link. And then there we go. So Dennis says, I think he was at Glenn Petter. I don't know what that means, Dennis. Natasha says, thanks, Rob. You're welcome. And Scott, let me know. Ugg was in wrong webinar. So Scott, I would love to hear more. If you don't mind, Scott, it matters a lot to me if someone says that they're having an issue or a problem inside of the session. It matters a lot to me, and I'm here to help you. So tell me more about what you thought you were going to be in and help me help you. Lauren says, thank you for acknowledging my input. Hey, man, thanks for participating in the chat. Brett says, with Thinkorswim, stops only work in the regular market hours, so we need to watch closely. Yep. If you have a position open in the pre-market, you got to watch it closely. Now, the nice thing, Brett, is the trade's only open for 5 to 15 minutes, so it's not difficult to do that. You can set, Brett, in the pre-market session, you can set the profit targets. And the profit targets are just limit orders. So limit orders do work pre-market. So you will be able to set your profit targets perfectly okay in the pre-market session. And so you'll just kind of get in and then you're out. And that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to leave that link up inside of the chat, robbiebooker.com/challenge. I'm still here waiting for Scott to let me know what webinar he thought he was going to go to, and he was in the wrong one. I'm so sorry to hear that. And for those of you that had a good time, you can continue to ask me a couple of questions. I've got about another minute here together with you. Jamie says, how much volume do you look for? I look for 1 million shares of volume in the pre-market session, and then hopefully it goes way up from there. Larry says, I sit on every class of yours that you offer because I always learn a lot. Thank you. You're welcome, Larry. I'm happy that you're having a good time. That means a lot to me. That's great. Thanks, Larry. All right, so Scott didn't answer. He didn't follow up. Patrick says, I like your idea of buying into strength. Thanks, Patrick, for being here. Ed says, what is this website you are showing? These are the charts that I use. These are trading view charts. They have a nice light background, makes it easy to see. Tradingview.com. All right, there we go. Well, Scott never answered. I was hoping to help him get to the right webinar that he wanted to be at. But there you go. Thanks for being here, my friends. You have another 30 seconds or so to click the link in the chat and book a time to speak. It's not necessary. You don't have to do it. You only need to do that if you're thinking about working together with me and Tim Sykes inside of the Tim Sykes Challenge. I would love for you to do that, of course. Baos says, I'm very new at my first day today, and I learned a lot. Thanks. Wow, that's great. Wow, that's fantastic. You're way ahead of the game now for sure. Thank you, my friends. We've said it all. The time has come and gone. Wow, that one went by fast. 50 minutes, all done. Thank you again. I will see you on the inside, friends. Have a great evening.